Holidays are one of the most favorite times of the year for many of us. We have the opportunity to go somewhere interesting, break away from everyday reality, and relax. On the other hand, during the holidays, as GTA fans, we prefer to play a bit more GTA.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ!
But which one? Well, of course, Vice City, because this sunny city, which refers to the lovely Florida, is the perfect choice. Consequently, the expectations of the players were enormous. After Rockstar treated us to the gloomy and autumnal Liberty City, players knew that there was a need to create a title that would give us a chance to feel the constant nostalgia and, in a sense, the inner warmth that is bursting with sunny Vice City. At the beginning, this edition was supposed to be only an expansion pack, as evidenced by many remnants of GTA 3, which can be found in the files of the GTA Vice City game. Apparently, the developers wanted to repeat the situation with GTA 1 and London's, which, however, was not met with great enthusiasm. Fortunately for us, Vice City came out as a full-fledged part of the series, and, despite its age, it is still one of the most beloved ones to this day. The first work on the game started a month after the release of GTA 3. And, by the way, we are very curious, when did Rockstar North start working with GTA 6? Yeah. But never mind. Returning to the topic, you could see that Rockstar approached the expansion of the series with as much heart as creating other, unique games in the meantime, such as Smuggler's Run 2, Hostile Territory, or State of Emergency. Taking a closer look at the game board, the size of the map has changed, which gave more space to explore in the open world. For comparison, the full map area in GTA 3 is 8.12 square kilometers, while in GTA Vice City it is already 9.11 square kilometers. In addition, this version also received very high ratings from websites like GameSpot and IGN, which is probably not a special surprise for us. Another matter that needs to be said is the game's soundtrack and the voice actors who were hired to work on Vice City. GTA Vice City brought almost everyone to their knees when it comes to in-game music. The game contains many songs that became hits in the 1980s. There was also a lot of variety, as players could listen to American hip-hop, real pop hits, or incredibly hardcore rock songs. Of course, there was also some disco and Latin music, which perfectly matched the atmosphere of the game. In addition, there are talk show stations available filled to the brim with humorous dialogues and discussions of less-known characters. It is worth emphasizing that Rockstar Games created a fictional rock band called Love Fist for the game, which recorded some really cool songs. All this made the game feel sentimental and nostalgic. As for the cast, a lot of new people were hired, but also a few celebrities, such as Ray Liotta, Danny Trejo, and Philip Michael Thomas. As in the case of GTA 3, Rockstar was inspired by the events of a specific period. Vice City alludes to the event known as Mariel Boatlift. Namely, from mid-April 1980 until the end of October, there was a massive migration of Haitian and Cuban minorities to Florida. After 10,000 Cubans tried to obtain asylum by seeking refuge at the Peruvian embassy, the Cuban government announced that anyone wishing to leave could do so from now on. The resulting mass migration was organized by the Cuban Americans with the approval of Cuban President Fidel Castro. The arrival of the refugees in the United States, however, created political problems for U.S. President Jimmy Carter. The Carter administration struggled to find a coherent solution for immigrants, while many refugees were released from prisons and health centers in Cuba. Rockstar was inspired by many outstanding works of cinematography from that period. A great example could be Scarface, Carlito's Way, or Miami Vice TV series. During the game, you can find a lot of references to these famous movie productions. One of the most breakthrough moments in GTA Vice City is the fact that players finally got a speaking protagonist to identify with better. It is worth noting that the main character strives to become the supreme unit in society, which cannot be said about Claude from GTA 3. Tommy Vercetti is the embodiment of a true and ambiguous entrepreneur, a fully loyal person with certain moral scruples. Another positive change is that the waters around Vice City do not seem empty or polluted like in Liberty City. A beautiful azure color is visible, and you can meet the first sea animals, such as dolphins. We must not forget about one of the key advantages of this game, i.e. the unique atmosphere of the 1980s, such as the climate full of sun, cocaine, and beautiful women. the player could spend hours in the game traversing the warm regions of Florida, which looked phenomenal both day and night. In addition to the changes that we will see at first glance, the developers decided to treat us with a wide range of weapons. For the first time, several types of arsenal have been introduced for a given slot. For example, if we have a Tech 9, we cannot have an MP5 or a Mac 10 with us. Same thing, if we have a Kruger, then we can't have an M4 rifle. There have also been significant changes in the subject of means of transport. This time, the player has over 100 different vehicles at his disposal, including new types, i.e. two-wheelers and helicopters. Artificial intelligence has also undergone some changes. There has been some kind of balance between the forces of law enforcement and the player, and we are referring to the famous M16 from GTA 3, which the military possessed. In this version, they got weaker but still strong M4s. As it was in GTA 3, the developers decided not to let us get 100% of the game so easily. The number of available side quests in Vice City is almost twice what it was in Liberty City. As a result, of course, this extends the game time and allows you to have even more fun from it. Certainly, assets turned out to be a colossal novelty. These are properties that we can, and most of them even have to buy, in order to push the plot forward. At the same time, in each of the assets, we receive few tasks closely related to the specification of a given business. In the end, we can feel that the criminal empire building is taking place gradually. Adding this kind of escape from story missions helps the player find something for themselves when the storyline does not feel interesting or is too difficult. Staying with the real estate, the number of hiding places that we can buy has increased significantly. So far in GTA 3, we received a hideout by default after unlocking another part of the city completely for free. This time, in GTA Vice City, we have to control Tommy's finances to be able to buy a place we like. It should be remembered that the greater number of hideouts is also a convenience, because then we have more locations on the map where we can save the game progress. Due to the fact that both assets and safe houses appeared in the game, unlike GTA 3, money began to play a much greater role than just something that can be exchanged for weapons or planting a bomb in our car. While comparing to GTA 3, Vice City has also been significantly improved in terms of the number of rooms we can enter. These include local shops, pharmacies, or a police station. This aspect makes the game much more realistic, and the player feels that some buildings, colloquially speaking, are teeming with life. GTA Vice City also introduces some unusual activities to pass the time. Examples include the mini-game of hitting a beach ball with your head or shooting at seagulls. Additionally, small bonuses have been introduced for those who like to play good citizens. In this case, if we punch a criminal who is running away from a police officer, we will get an additional $50. The same is true when we act as a bus driver. The new possibilities in the game also include the use of services, such as buying food or shooting at the shooting range. It should also be mentioned that we can still use the services of prostitutes, which have received a nice upgrade and look more attractive than those known to us from GTA 3. Another thing worth noting is the plot of the game. The player learns much more about the characters and themes in the missions. There are also characters from the previous GTA, which allows you to get to know their pasts better and in some way complete partially the events of GTA 3. With GTA Vice City, there was also the possibility of recruiting members of your own gang after achieving 100% of the game, although it is worth noting that this function was to be introduced in GTA 3 first. A nice curiosity and variety are the monologues of Tommy Vercetti, which can be heard after some cutscenes.
Who does that guy think he is? Now I gotta dress like a chump as well as hang out with them? I like this shirt.
Despite the fact that the mythomania officially began with GTA 3, Vice City developed this topic solidly. In the game itself, we can come across many interesting phenomena that may arouse our interest. Some of them have already been explained, but some are still overshadowed by speculation. The last positive aspect of the game is the personalization of the protagonist. As we know, from GTA 3, only PC players could do that by making new skins for Claude's appearance. Rockstar thought this through, and in GTA Vice City, the studio created several outfits for the main character. Tommy can change clothes, which are unlocked as the game progresses. Of course, GTA Vice City has its downsides, and while by listing them, one could later discuss whether a given thing is definitely a downside, we think that everyone will agree with us that a big disappointment is Tommy's lack of swimming and diving skills, as well as a whole lot of cut content. Due to the lack of swimming and diving skills, the penetration of Vice City waters was significantly limited, which, as we know, has changed drastically in San Andreas. As for the removed content, it's always a big regret because it is simply less things to discover and always we would like more. That's all we got. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you have any questions or reflections concerning GTA games, you can provide it either in the comment section or by writing an email to us. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments as well. We also encourage you to leave thumbs up or down after watching the video because it helps to choose over topics for new ones. See you soon!